Hello wilders and walkers, this is the grasshopper taking you around on the ground below the bull. First though, I should say that this was a series of shorter walks that I did after I had managed to mess up my feet. So I couldn't really do much more than a few kilometres because then I was limping like an old man and cursing, and it wasn't nice. So this is relatively a gentle walk, if it could be termed that. But rather fun. I parked near the end of the Rio Velez. There's a pull-in and you could see the water, and you're just near a lot of farmlands and agriculture, but the area in the hinterland is quite tatty, and that's my target, the Osborne Bull. The Osborne Bull was an advertising campaign by that brand of brandy, but was so popular that they became a national symbol with the advertising stripped off them, the marks. And you see them all through the area. This is between Torre del Mar and Almayate, and it's magnificent. I love that there's a tree in this, a shoe in this tree. Like I said, it's quite tatty because it's very much part of the agricultural landscape rather than the tourist landscape. So you get these lovely wildflowers here and there, but you also get abandoned things such as this mine. This is the area below the crag, was a mine for sandstone and softer stones. There's everything in this area from schist to marble. It's really good for the wildlife because nobody's doing anything with it now, so you see spotted flycatchers feeding their chicks and many other birds, and that's rather wonderful. There's a sandstone crag. There's some grapes growing over one of the barriers, so a combination of rough ground, and because it's agricultural area, you've got water, so you get dragonflies. The water is often in acequias which aren't closed, so you get wildlife. It's not good water management, but it's great for the wildlife, so I don't care. There's you see what I mean about the sandstone. You see the shells from hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of years ago. And here are the acequias and some Easter-baiting snails. It's quite strange to see this combination of tatty landscape and a little bit of wildlife, and it's quite fun, but you always feel like the land could be used a little better, but it's still nice to see things like the pauldron beetles and the straw bell moths, and anything else I can manage to see while I'm limping around in this sort of area. I have to confess that I go right into the mine area, which is probably technically not allowed, and I'm not recommending you to do it. However many beautiful birds you see, it's not worth risking your neck if you're not very confident, and most people are not as stupid as me, because I was risking my neck a bit. Here, but I did get to see this short-toed eagle all the way down here in the valley and making that collared dove very nervous. This is what I mean by tatty. So you get abandoned vehicles and fences and electrical boxes, and sadly, as always, plastic litter, which I hate. But there are good things. There are compensations like the flowers and the birds. And actually it's part of a walkway. There is a walkway, an official walkway that crosses this area, but it certainly doesn't go into the mine, of course, the abandoned mine. But the lizards do, and the snails do, so I'm with them. I'm only a little grasshopper, nobody noticed me. You can see the Osborne Bull all the way, all the time. That sign looks very rude, but it's just part of the old advertising that should have come away. As you can actually make out the bottle now. It's not what you originally thought. And of course there are monk parakeets looking ridiculous and making a lot of noise as usual. Instead of 3 wise monkeys, 3 grooming parakeets. There's the gap in the fence that I managed to scramble through. I'm looking here towards the Mediterranean, and there's actually, I think these palm trees are probably being grown to be sold. A lot of cities use palm trees as decoration. And there's some more farmland, and here's the abandoned mine. And the most dramatic ever sign saying there could be falling rocks. Abandon hope, all ye who enter here. And there's a walkway. You need to go over to the left-hand side to get past the crags. And you can see the bull looming above you. another glance towards the sea, and you're getting up, and you have to be very careful of these cliffs. The marks in the cliffs from the scored by the machinery that was mining them is fascinating to me. The geometry and the way that they mined them. I find it kind of sad for some reason. I suppose any abandoned work seems a little sad. I was very careful on the edge of the cliffs, I promise you, but it is always a bit of a thrill to get a good shot over the edge. I was very happy that the dragonflies were very happy to perch near my foot and allow me to take pictures of them. And actually, to be honest, the paths were steady and the rocks were steady. I was really, honestly, very careful, as I would recommend anyone to be, even if they don't go into an abandoned mine area. There's a lot that can be done with a good pole, but I did see bee-eaters. There was a flock of bee-eaters that stayed in the area and flew over and over. Beautiful birds, living jewels, and it's always nice to see the view. There's Torre del Mar, and the slightly frighteningly geometric patterns of the agriculture here, which I find a little bit restrictive. I did love seeing on this pond-still sea a few fishing vessels, always rather beautiful. And I'm walking up towards the Bull now. The Bull, with all that structure behind it, the scaffolding, it reminds me of the end of a film called Jamón Jamón, which is the most Spanish film ever, in which two antagonists beat each other to death with hams and die beneath the balls of the bull. You couldn't get a more Spanish metaphor for machismo, which always makes me laugh when I think of it. But I love but it's so quirky to have these sculptures essentially rearing out of the landscape. Anything unexpected. Like this little unexpected bee-eater on a wire. It's always nice to see a bird on a wire. And when not one, two. It's good to see them. And from here, there's a beautiful flowering shrub, except that when you get closer you realise it's more Easter baiting snails. I will never stop being fascinated by the way they survive heat by sealing themselves into their shells, but they don't seem to avoid a place where they're going to get baked. It's just amazing. Now I was walking down and round to come back to the place that I had got in, and actually enjoying it. It's always harder. You've got to be very careful going up rough ground, because coming down rough ground is always harder. You've got to be cautious, because you've got to be able to come down where you've gone up, unless you know that there's a loop back. But I did fine. It was fine. There's that collared dove, seems to have stayed on the same perch. And I liked seeing the cacti. You don't see huge numbers in the wilds. They're not native to the area, but they are well adapted to this climate. The one you see most of is the agave, which thrives and is used by a lot of farmers as a sort of hedging plant to ward off on unwanted visitors. There's more snails on that thorn bush again. Like I said, a short walk, but I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed seeing the bull with me, and John will join me again. Like and subscribe, and I wish you well. Bye.